Hi, it's Christy Conradie with Motherhood Made Simple. Today, I want to have a conversation with you about the gifts our children bring into our lives, even when these gifts look like challenges. One of the things I have learned in my 20 years of being a mom is that the things I struggled with in the very beginning with my children were the exact same things that I needed to learn about myself. I have learned that our children do come through us, that they do not belong to us, right? They have their own unique soul. They have their own gifts and talents. They have their own wants and wishes, their own personality, right? As do we, right? We are different individuals in a symbiotic relationship. Now, having said that, that does not mean that I think our children are random or somehow not connected to our essence. Because I also know that the kids that I have had the privilege of raising have also been very much like me, very not like me, but they also have gifts and talents that complement me. So that's what I want to spend a little bit of time unpacking a little bit and see if I can help you see maybe some of your struggles and some of your challenges are really just gifts waiting to be unwrapped instead of something you have to sort of have a power struggle over or feel defeated by, those kinds of stressful, overwhelming feelings. So let me take you back for a minute. When I was first pregnant with my son, so this would be in 2001, I was working, and when I became pregnant, I literally was sick for months, like really, really sick. I couldn't eat anything but French toast. I could barely function for many months. It was like everything I did made me nauseated and the room would spin. I had a really hard time focusing and just getting anything done. And at the time, I didn't have the life skills I have now, right? I was really swimming upstream without a paddle. What it felt like, and what I described to my friends at the time, also, I was older. I was 37 when I got pregnant for the first time. And I realized that I felt like I was taken over by an alien. That is not something I would be proud to say as a mom, like I am taken over by an alien, but it felt like that. From the very beginning, motherhood felt challenging, almost unbearably challenging. And then I realized right after my son was born, when he gave me more challenges of not wanting to sleep in his own crib, constantly needing to be around me, connected to me, almost like I had to have him connected to me again, this time externally, right? Not internally in my belly. But he was so attached, and he would only calm and quiet when he was like next to me, which for me, at 37 years old, of being by myself and taking care of myself and really independent and nobody really needing me, right? That again, challenging, overwhelming. Oh my gosh, how am I going to be a great mom when I feel like I'm suffocating? Again, not something I would share proudly as if motherhood should have been any different, right? Because this 20 years later, looking back, of course, oh my gosh, hindsight 2020. And the lessons my son has taught me about myself as well as how to be a mom that he needed for his own growth and development, priceless. So I'm going to stop that for a second and then bring in my daughter for a second. So 2 years later, in 2004, so my son was born in 2002, April of 2002. When I was 40, so now I'm 40, I just turned 40, and that would have been in 2003. And I just got pregnant for the second time with my daughter. I really wanted 2 kids. I really wanted a boy and a girl. So at 40, I tried again to get pregnant, and I did, and I had Lauren in 2004. So now I had a boy and a girl, my life's dreams, right? I am now 40 years old, like I was just sneaking in under that time frame window. Although now, 20 years later, lots of older moms having kids later in life. So, but back then, wasn't quite the norm yet to be an older mom. But anyways, my daughter came into the world a lot more quietly, less stress and struggle. I had more joyful, well days when my daughter was, when I was pregnant, and her birth so much easier than my son's. I tell you this because my son has a really strong personality, and my daughter has a quiet but powerful personality. She is not as demonstrative or in your face or aggressive isn't quite the right word, but you get the gist. As my son was just like now, immediate, really kind of like do or die kind of energy coming from my son. So for me, I'm a more quiet, introspective, introverted, even though I can be very social and extroverted. My nature, by nature, is quiet, reserved, observant. I'm not the first one to jump in and do something, right? But I will definitely participate and be right there. And I'm always, always, always the one organizing and helping and making something be really special and fantastic, no matter what it is I'm asked to do, right? But I take things a little slower. I like to put my feet in the water and check it out before I dive in, kind of thing. So for me to raise my son, I had to learn how to negotiate. I had to learn how to stand up for myself and my boundaries, right? Things I didn't have to do before in my life because I didn't have this kind of pressing challenge front and center in my life. My daughter, on the other hand, who was more quiet, just did what she was supposed to do. I never had to ask her twice. She was just attentive and loving and cuddly and kind and right. What I didn't know then that I know now is I didn't know how to meet her needs because she didn't present any needs like my son did, right? So here I am, a mom of now, what, 42-ish? My kids are 2 and 4. I'm trying to figure things out. I'm feeling completely overwhelmed, defeated at some level, just feeling like I'm not cut out to be a mom. I don't know how to do this. I'm not meeting my daughter's needs. I'm overstimulated with my son's needs, and I'm just in the middle trying to stabilize and make it all work, right? So I want to presence this because this is what motherhood at its core is really about. It's challenging. It's going to ask you as a mom to grow. It's going to ask you to look at your kids and really tune in and really learn how to connect at a level maybe you've never had to do before in your life. Because up until kids enter your world, so to speak, you have a life that you've been living, meeting your needs, working, being married or having a significant other and other relationships, and you're probably pretty good at it. You're probably good at what you do, work-wise or professional-wise, right? And then you become a mom, no manual, no real self-understanding, perhaps, like me. I didn't really know myself. I didn't know all the different things about me that was going to sort of bump up against the natural things in my children. No one really told me that to be a mom, I was going to have to like grow exponentially in terms of love and patience and life skills and just present moment connectedness and emotional management, etc. I don't know. I must have missed that somewhere, or it just wasn't talked about maybe. Now, 20 years later, after living through 20 years of being a mom, teaching moms classes, not because I knew anything, but because I wanted to learn something. I was floundering. I didn't know how to handle some of the stages and phases of childhood. I didn't understand how the brain and the body and all of the inner workings in children were developing. I wanted to learn. So I asked other moms, my friends, right? You guys want to do some classes with me, read some books, have lunch, discuss, help each other, etc. I must admit, I was almost petrified to even ask that question, right? Remember, this is 20 years ago. Now there's all kinds of mom help and mom classes and things. But back then, to say I was floundering, to say I didn't know what I was doing as a mom, felt so vulnerable. I felt like I was such a failure at this. Little did I realize I was not a failure. I just didn't know the skills. Why didn't I know these skills? Well, that's not taught in school, right? Life skills are not taught in school. I was taught how to get good grades, get straight A's, get into college, get a degree, get a job, but not how to really love and live life. So when I had to go and do this for my children, I was like a fish out of water. So anyways, I created these meaningful mom classes, and over the course of these past mostly 14 years, not all of my 20 years of being a mom, but the last 14, 15 years, I have been learning and growing and teaching and putting all of what I've learned together into this Be Meaningful journey and recipe cards. Every single lesson I learned, I turned into a little recipe card for living. All this is to say, I want you to focus in on what gifts your kids are trying to help you learn. How are they trying to help you grow? How are they bringing to you their challenges and their struggles so that you can connect back within, so that you can realize, oh, I got this. I just need to learn how to connect to my child. I need to learn how to meet my child's needs, not have my child meet my needs, right? That was a huge one for me. I was wanting my children to meet my needs, do things my way, in my time frame, right? Just the way I would do it, or something was wrong, they weren't doing it right. Be good students, be good people, blah, 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 right? There was no room for them to just be who they were and then help, and then have me help them figure out life on their terms. I had to learn that. And I want you to know you can learn that too. No matter what life brings you, and life has brought me a lot of curveballs and a lot of lemons, but you can turn it into lemonade, and you can turn your challenges into blessings. Here's another thing I learned I'd like to share with you. One last thing is all the obstacles all the stress isn't necessarily you and your children having a problem. It's the world in which we're living right now brings in a lot of external stress that does not need to be in the mother-child realm. So I want you to be really, really aware of what challenges are pushing in on you from external things. You need to do this, you need to do this, you need to do this. How many times have you heard that? You need to do this, you need to have kids do this, you need to be like this, da 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 da. No, forget all that. That's overwhelming. You'll never meet all those needs, and they don't really make you happy anyways. I learned that the hard way. I'm here to tell you, put that back to the world, tune back into you, make sure you are taking care of you, learn what it is that makes you you, so that you can distinguish your needs from your child's needs. Because when you can do that, then you can see what your child is needing and what struggles and stresses they're dealing with that impact you, and then you can help them over here meet their own needs. That is a beautiful mother-child relationship where all the needs aren't so co-mingled and you don't know whose need is getting met with what thing, right? Is to separate and realize you're all unique and individual and have different needs and different ways to get those needs met. Then when you can co-create together, that's when joy and meaningfulness come back into the motherhood journey. So I just wanted to present a little bit of the gifts that your children can bring to you and help you realize that all kinds of things can help you learn more about yourself, recognize your gifts can be a gift to your children, almost as if it's magical. Because this is what I want to leave you with. The gifts that you came into the world with might be different than the gifts your children came into the world with, but your gifts are needed for your children, and your children's gifts are needed for you. This is a beautiful, wonderful way to experience motherhood from that perspective. And that's mostly what I want to leave you with. Tune into your gifts and see how your gifts can be a blessing to your children, as well as the gifts that your children are bringing to you can bless you in ways that you have never, ever experienced before. And if you need help in this area, I have programs and online classes and recipe cards that I told you about listed on my website. And if I can be of help to you, please take advantage of what I've put out, because I really want you to experience motherhood with more ease, grace, and joy, and really help your children live life aligned with who they are as well, so that the world and what the world says makes you happy and makes you crazy and frantic doesn't have to be your world. You can co-create together and then go out into the world to get your needs met. So with that, I'll say goodbye, and until I see you next time, bye.